Morning, afternoon, evening people. So back in the kitchen with Tony and Teddy, but today we're not cooking, we're making cider. So we're making a blackberry cider using shop bought apple juice that is freshly squeezed, it's not from concentrate, and wild blackberries that we've harvested. I will put the video down in the description where I harvested and preserved those blackberries. If you want to see that, go check it out. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, so if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. Right, let's get into it. Okay, everything has been sterilised prior to starting. These blackberries frozen, 300 grams, leaving them to defrost. So what you'll find is if you use blackberries that you've frozen, first of all they'll be as fresh as the day you picked them, and secondly, when they defrost they go a bit mushy. We want them to be a bit mushy to infuse this cider with the blackberry flavour. Now we're aiming for 12% with this cider, 12% ABV. So 1 kilo sugar. To that 1 kilo sugar, I'm going to add some apple juice. And all we're doing here is just getting this sugar dissolved into the apple juice so we can get it into our demijohn. So we'll give that a stir. And we'll get this added into our demijohn. And then you will find you end up with sugar in the bottom. And all we're going to do is just add a bit more apple juice. So that remaining sugar just to make sure we get it all in there. Now we're just going to add a bit more apple juice. And that apple juice smells really good. And then we're just going to give it a good shake. What we do by shaking it is we're oxygenating it a little bit for the fermentation and getting that sugar dissolved in nicely. Next, add the blackberries. Now yes, they're still partially frozen, but it's not a biggie. And we need to add them before we add the rest of the apple juice, because we don't know if we're going to need all the apple juice. Now our blackberries been added, now the rest of the apple juice. Now we are going to end up with a fairly cloudy cider, as this is cloudy apple juice. But we like a cloudy cider, don't we? Got a good mix together. Now we'll take our odometer reading. Okay, 1092. 1092. So with that hydrometer reading, 1092, I can tell you now it's not going to be 12%. It's probably around 10.5%, 11% maybe, but we'll see, time will tell. Okay, so I'm using a turbo yeast here. It also contains yeast nutrient. I'm just going to pop a spoon of that in there, not measured. Pop our airlock on. That's going to go away in a warm spot now for about 4 weeks, and then we'll rack it off. We'll rack it off for 4 weeks time for you, 4 weeks time for me, but in a minute for you. Right, we're back. It's now been 6 weeks and 2 days. I know I said I was going to rack it off to 4 weeks, but got carried away. And the good thing with cider is there's no time limit. It's a slow process, so you could leave that on for 3 months if you wanted to. So I'll give you a closer look. As you can see there, it's very dark in colour. Had a very vigorous fermentation, because you can see that it's actually come up into the airlock a bit at the beginning of the initial fermentation. So I want to guess that's fermented right down. So what we'll go ahead and do now is using an auto siphon, we're going to rack this off from this demijohn into this demijohn. Then we're going to go ahead, take our hydrometer reading. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm using a second fermentation vessel just to raise this up. I'll bring you in closer, I'll show you why. And the way you use auto siphons is you pull this up, you push the plunger down, it starts your siphon. Sometimes if the second vessel is too low down, you pull this up, it will pull the pipe out, and it can be a pain trying to hold the pipe in and pump the plunger at the same time. I've had this with that auto siphon for years, don't know where I bought it, but I will find it on Amazon, link one in the description. We've also got a longer one for these big FVs for making beer. I have just started a beer that I'm doing a video on too, so if you want to see that, hit subscribe. As you can see with this now, it's already pretty clear. I'll give you a closer look when we take the hydrometer reading. You'll also notice that all the blackberries are floating on the top of the other vessel, so they're not going to clog up the siphon. Okay, so that's it wrapped off. You can see what we've left behind. You can see how anemic those blackberries look. So all the goodness out of those blackberries has gone into our cider. So let's go ahead and take our hydrometer reading. If I didn't mention it before, everything has been sterilised using Milton sterilising solution, including the test jar, the hydrometer and the turkey baster. Okay, so there we go. You can see that. That is about 1004, I'm going to call that. So that's fermented right down. So I'm going to go away now, do the maths, and see what percentage we're coming in at. Okay, so I've done the maths. 11.55%. Starting specific gravity 1092 and final gravity 1004. I said we were aiming for 12%, 11.55%, decent. That percentage is ABV, by the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pour this straight back in. Everything's been sterilised, so we're not going to waste that. As you can see by that, it is actually already pretty clear. Okay, so I've gone ahead and sterilised these. Put the airlock back on. Drop a steriliser solution in the airlock. What we're going to do now is we're going to leave that to sit for another week just to finish clearing, see if we can get any clearer. I'm not worried about the gap on top, oxygenisation, because this will still be off gassing, so that will soon fill that space there with CO2, a jacket of CO2, protect that cider. We'll leave it another week and then we'll go to bottling. Okay, it's now been another week. As you can see, this hasn't cleared very much, so I left it for 6 weeks and 2 days. It pretty much cleared, so we probably could have racked that off and bottled it straight off, but it's always a good idea, leave it just to clear, maybe clear a little bit more. Also, we're not in a rush. Now, expense. It's not expensive to brew hard cider in this way. One of these demijohns I got off eBay for about £7, which is around the $10 mark. The other demijohn I got from a charity shop for about £3.50, roughly $5. These two bottles I quite like, I got from a charity shop, £2.50 each, $3 mark. These were from, I got 4 of them, from someone called Home Bargains, which is a fairly cheap shop. Only problem is with these cheap bottles, they're pretty much designed for drinking water and all that kind of thing. So they come with a really thin, clear rubber seal. All you do is just replace it with one of these decent rubber seals and you're good to go. So a bit of a closer look, you can see it's not much clearer than it was. It was already pretty clear. Then when you bottle cider, the shelf life is about 2 years, they say. The longer you store it, the drier it will get. I'm not saying you can't store it longer than 2 years, you can. Cider can be kept for years. However, the by the book shelf life is around 2 years. Like I say, it'll get drier and drier. So we're going to be using our auto siphon today and a bottling wand. If you've never used one of these before, really handy bit of kit, I'll show you now. Now again, we're using our FV as a shelf, just to raise the bottles up a little bit. So when you're using the auto siphon, it becomes a little bit more difficult, and I'll show you why. This bottling wand got a little plunger on it, so when that plunger is pushed down at the bottom of the bottle, that opens the valve. When it's not, that releases it. So what we have to do So when we push the plunger on our auto siphon, we have to also keep this depressed inside the bottle at the same time, so it's a little two-handed operation. If you've got two people it's easier, but you can do it with one. I'll show you now. So I've now got the auto siphon in the cider and the bottling wand in the bottle. So what I'm going to do is pull the plunger up, leave it in the upright position, and press down the bottling wand at the same time, push down on the auto siphon, and now we start bottling. Now the issue can come with this, if you're not using a shelf to raise the bottle up, if that was on the ground, that'd be a difficult manoeuvre. There you go, as soon as you push on the plunger, the flow begins. I'm expecting to get 4 bottles off of this. Might be a little bit short, we might get 3 3/4. So what you find, especially when you're using fresh fruit, is because you have to leave a bit behind, leave the fruit behind when you rack it, you also lose a little bit of cider. I think this starts at 4.5 litres when it's full and ends up being probably 4 litres with a little bit that you lose. We're also leaving a tiny bit behind at the bottom here just to leave that sediment that's been left at the bottom when we've cleared it a little bit more. Okay, this is the moment of truth because this is last bottle. However, the large bottles were a litre. I think these are 750ml, so I think we might just get our 4 bottles. And we have a tiny bit more. I'll get another small bottle and we'll just do that last bit. I got these small bottles from the charity shop as well. I think they were like £1.50 each, like $2. Let's see what we get. When you get to the bottom, a good idea is to tilt the damage on a little bit. So there you go, that's our lot. So there we are, roughly about 4 litres, because these small bottles I think 750ml, these are 1 litre. That's 500ml, half a litre, just short. And it is the 23rd of October today, so we'll be starting a Christmas brew soon. I'll do a video on that, so if you want to see that, hit subscribe. So here's a closer look. I'm going to open one up this evening, give it a bit of a try, give it a taste, give it a review for you. It's a bit early, it's not even lunchtime yet, I think it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. So a bit too early to crack one open. This evening I'll crack one open and we shall give it a taste. Okay, so let's give it a go. It smells strong, but it also smells sweet. It's strong. You can feel that bite of the strength of the alcohol as soon as you take a sip. A bit of warmth down to the stomach as you swallow from the alcohol. Initial nice sweet taste of apple with just a hint of blackberry in the background. Really nice, actually, really nice. I think that would be a nice Christmas brew actually. Like I say, I'm going to do a Christmas brew, I haven't decided what yet, so tune in for that. So give it a go people, it's cheap, it's easy, and it's nice. If you like that video, just give us a big thumbs up, it really helps that YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, have a good day.